broadcast, and we're looking forward to getting started in just a few minutes. Just so we can do a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, this is Pageantry Now. We're all about positive pageantry. Hey, Nicole, thanks for joining us. Hey, Caro, how are you? We're all about positive pageantry and being able to highlight what goes on behind the scenes in pageantry, not necessarily what you see on TV. So maybe you might see a missed question or a controversial question on a pageant from the day before, or maybe even you'll see a blooper from a pageant, or you'll see reality TV. And the truth of the matter is that there's amazing women and men making a difference using their titles and their crowns to be able to change the world. So today we've got a very special guest who I think I just got a text message from, so just please bear with me. And hopefully we will get her on in just a second. Hold on one second. I see a couple of people in the chat, and then everybody dropped off. So can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? I hope. Hey, Zach, how are you? Thank you. For those of you that are not familiar with our show, we do highlight the positive things about pageantry. If you are new here, please fan us and then invite your fans. We're trying really, really hard to work on being partnered, so we need more people to come and watch the show so they can learn about these amazing women and men that we highlight in the show. And then what we're trying to do is to be able to highlight positive pageantry. So with that being said, I'm just waiting for people to pop in and say hi. We will be guesting in just a minute. We do have a special guest. So basically what we do with the show is once or twice a week, usually on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a special guest that comes in and talks about their title and what they're doing with their title and how they are using it to make a difference. And I see that she's here now. So I'm going to see if I can guest her. Hopefully this will work. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries to be able to get it to work. But if you're new, please make sure that you fan us. If you'd like to catch some of our previous videos, we do have them shared to YouTube, so you can take a look at them at YouTube at Pageantry Now Media. We have interviews with Miss America, with Miss Universe, with Miss USA, as well as several smaller title holders. This is Mrs. California International. She'll be competing for Mrs. International. So we're going to have her join us and tell us about her story and how she makes a difference using her crown to be able to change her community and hopefully your community as well. So let's take a look right here. She is fanned. Fingers crossed that this works. And again, once again, if you have not been here before, we do have social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Pageantry Now. So if you want to join us, hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. We're sideways. Oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. Oh my gosh, do you think you can turn the camera?
I probably can. Let me work real quick. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Better?
Fabulous. Hi.
Hey.
Do me a favor and introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are.
All right. I am Lauren Weeks. I'm Mrs. California International 2018. And like you said, I will be competing at Mrs. International this July in West Virginia. So I'm super excited.
Super excited. How long have you had your title?
I was crowned in September of 2017. So I was one of the first title holders to get crowned for this 2018 year. So it's been really fun.
Great. I mean, I know that there's a lot of controversy as to whether you should get crowned earlier or later. I think earlier is easier because it really lets you build up notoriety, do a lot more community service, and be able to have something to really punch with when you go to your national pageant. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. I think it was amazing to get crowned in September because I was able to just hit the ground running and just start accomplishing things that I wanted to accomplish and just, you know, have that international pageant coming up, just looking forward to it and excited about it for most of my year.
Fantastic. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the international system, just so we are familiar with it, because not everybody understands that there's not just Miss USA or Miss America; that there's several different systems out there as well. And Mrs. International actually has multi-tiers. So tell us about that and the areas of competition.
Yes, they do. They have misses, of course, which is what I will be going for. They also have a teen and a miss, and it's really exciting because the girls that get crowned, they get to travel together and really just become a good sisterhood with that teen and miss and misses to just spend the year doing great things together. So it's a really wonderful organization, and if you're interested in pageantry, I highly recommend that you look into the international system because they're so great, and particularly with the misses, they're so supportive of family. They're the only pageant that I know of that actually have the husband walk you on stage for your evening gown, which is amazing to just have him on my arm and share that moment with him. And then also, if you win, your husband gets to come on stage and crown you, which is so special. And my husband was shaking and nervous, and he didn't know how to pin my crown, so it was a really funny moment too.
Becoming a pageant husband is always interesting because they're not quite sure what to do in general, and then you turn around like, does this look okay? And they're like, am I supposed to say yes or no?
We had to walk on stage. He was shaking, like he was so nervous, and I'm thinking, well, look at all of us now. All the husbands know how we feel having to go compete in fitness and evening gown and on stage questions. So the husbands get a little taste of what it's like because they have to walk on stage. So that's really fun too, just for them to experience it like we do and get to see the judges and the audience.
Fantastic. And I know that the Mrs. International, the international system in general, is really based on community service and being able to have a platform. We talk a lot about platform on the show, but if you can just tell us what your community service project is or your platform so that we're familiar with it.
So my big thing that I want to do as Mrs. California and hopefully as Mrs. International is really just let people know about the various ways that they can help children in foster care besides the most obvious, which is adoption or fostering. I know when I met my husband, I told him, I want to become a foster parent, I want to adopt, this is really important to me, but it's also something that we pray about and we had to wait for the right timing. So for a lot of people, I think they're really interested in helping children in foster care or adopting, but it's a very scary kind of leap to jump into. So there are so many other ways that you can help, and I use them as little feet warmers because you can kind of dip your toes in the water and get comfortable and get used to the system and then make that leap. So that's what happened for us. I got involved with an organization called Together We Rise 7 years ago. How I got to know them was because they come to Disneyland every year and they reunite children in foster care with their siblings. So they give them this fantastic day. They have t-shirts and they get churros and popcorn and get to ride the rides, and all the characters and all the cast members at Disneyland know that they're there, and just to give them that extra special magic. And so I, was curious, what is this organization? So I learned a little bit more about them and just fell in love with the premise. So one of the main things that they do is they have sweet cases, which are duffel bags that they give to the children in foster care to replace the trash bags that they are typically given when they're told, you need to pack up, you have 10 minutes, here's a trash bag, throw your stuff in it. And it's been so eye-opening getting to talk to children in foster care about how that makes them feel. And their world is getting torn apart in one moment. And yet they're given a trash bag and made to feel even less than they probably already feel at that moment. And then to top it off, most children experience 5 placements. So you're packing from home to home. And not only are you leaving these foster parents that you've gotten to know, you're leaving the bedroom that you've been in, you're leaving the teddy bears or whatever they gave you, the blankets, things that you're comfortable with, and now you're moving to a whole new home. So what we do is we have the duffel bag that we get to decorate, rewrite like really inspiring things like you're loved or draw pictures. And then inside we put a teddy bear and a blanket and some hygiene products, toothbrush, toothpaste, coloring books, crayons, just things that are their own. So they don't have to leave behind that teddy bear that they fell in love with at this house. They get to have belongings that only belong to them and carry them from house to house as a form of comfort in a really upsetting time.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. I was a victim of abuse as a teenager, and I did not go into the foster system, but some neighbors actually chose to inadvertently adopt me. But I know that when I went to the hospital I ended up having to have stitches to repair my face from where I was injured. And I was told, you have a choice to go into an institution or go home. So you decide what you want to do. And at 16, it just seemed like, how do I even make that kind of a decision? I mean, how do you make that kind of a decision as a child? And many of these children that are in the system, have gone through many, many, many different foster families. They've been victims of abuse, or they've been victims of abandonment, or perhaps their parents have been incarcerated, and they really don't have an opportunity to feel like they've got really strong roots to be able to grow from, and a foundation to grow from. And I was very, very lucky to have a family that just said, hey, you know what, you can come stay with us. But I can't even imagine, I know how terrifying it was for me at that point in time, so I can't even imagine where some of these children deal with this. And I mean, children are extremely resilient, and I appreciate that, but you're giving them some kind of amazing solace in knowing that their stuff is theirs. They get to keep, whatever stuff it is. And hopefully that helps to lessen some of that anxiety and that feeling of loss and that feeling of abandonment and the inability to be able to, connect with people too, because you get this fear of connecting and building relationships because you're not sure what's going to happen next. So congratulations.
Thank you. I have a friend who her husband was in the foster care system, and Together We Rise wasn't around then, but at some point one of his foster families gave him a backpack, like a really nice backpack, and said, you can just keep this and put all your belongings in it. And my friend said he still has that to this day. He will not get rid of it. It means so much to him that it was like his comfort. And you think it's just a backpack, but when you're that child that's moving from home to home and all you have is this same backpack that you pack all your things in, he can't get rid of it. And so that's what we really are striving to do for these children, is show them that they are loved, somebody cares about them, and just let them have that peace of mind that their belongings aren't trash, and they aren't trash, and that they have value and worth. And on top of the sweet cases, Together We Rise does a whole number of things. They also do bike builds. So instead of raising money for the sweet cases, you can raise money for bicycles for children, just to bring back the simple joys of childhood, which a lot of them maybe don't have if they're moving from home to home. They have birthday boxes, which, they'll deliver to the foster children on their birthdays, which is really exciting and really nice. So there's a whole number of ways that you can help. And all you have to do is go to togetherwerise.org, and you can pick. You just start an online campaign. So that's how I got started. I did an online campaign on Facebook. And on top of raising money for this great cause, I had people private message me and just tell me their story, which I was completely blown away by. I did not expect. I mean, it didn't even occur to me that I would have so many Facebook friends who would write me and say, I was in the foster care system in high school. You didn't know it, but I was, and this is so special, and I'm going to donate, and I want to create a campaign. So really, one person doing a campaign on Facebook stems into these 5 people do it, and then their 5 friends do it, and it just blows up. And so you think, oh, I only did one campaign. I only raised $350, but really the ripple effect is amazing, and you don't know what kind of impact you're making. And it's just been really a worthwhile venture to be involved with. So
fantastic. Now I know you've been nominated for the Denise Weeks Award, which is to highlight women and men that are working with the foster system from Global Beauty Awards.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I know that the awards take place on March 10th and they're in Washington, but tell me about how you felt about being nominated for this award.
Beyond blessed. I mean, Denise Weeks, she's a woman who needs no introduction. She's so amazing, and I don't know if everyone knows, but there is a movie coming out about her life. I believe it's starring Jennifer Aniston, but she's such an inspiring woman. So to be nominated for an award with her name is just super humbling. And, my fellow nominees, they're fantastic as well. And I'm just really, honored to have been nominated with those women, and I'm excited to see what happens.
It's so, I think, one of the things that I love about this show, and the reason we started doing this 2 years ago was because it really gives an opportunity for women and men that are, doing amazing things using their crown, using their crown as a microphone to open doors, to give them opportunities to be able to change their world. And I meet such inspiring people that, I know that we don't do it. We don't do the community service. We don't do the things that we do because we want to be recognized. We do it because we have a heart for it. And the crown just enables more opportunities to be able to do that. But it's always nice when you get some type of notice for what you're doing and making a difference. And you've been involved with the organization now for 7 years, correct?
Yeah, 7 years, almost 8. But again, just being nominated, people will see that nomination and say, oh, what's she doing? Oh, Together We Rise. I'm going to look into that. So really, it's just another platform for people to learn about what you're so passionate about. And I'll take any opportunity to share it with people, because most people, when they find out it's that simple, it's amazing. And then once you've done a few campaigns, I feel like it really softens your heart to make those next steps. So that's exactly what happened with my husband. We've been doing these campaigns. He's been watching me do the sweet cases and bike builds. And then we were so blessed to get invited to the baby ball, which is in Hollywood. And it's through Adopt Together. And they basically just have this huge night with a red carpet and just raise money for people to be able to adopt, because as everyone knows, it's so expensive.
Right.
And my husband was sitting there listening to Hank, who's the founder of Adopt Together. He was listening to him speak. And when we drove home, he was very just quiet. And, it was just abnormal. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, I think it's time we adopt. Like, I feel like God spoke to me through Hank, and I think it's time. Like, we need to take those steps. And for me, that was like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing. I can't believe, because we've always wanted to do it, but it's just, when is it that right time? But to hear my husband say, I really feel like God was speaking to me, and it's something we really need to look into and see if God opens those doors for us. So I think that you get involved in the process, you do a little bit more, and then if it's meant to be, God will speak to you and open those right doors. And so we're in the process of becoming foster parents right now. So that's super exciting, and just going to be a fun adventure to go on. We have 2 children. We have a little boy who's 4, and his name's Hunter, and then we have a 2-year-old. He's almost 3, and his name's Wyatt. So it'll just be really fun to kind of explain to them, the process. And we also have 6 dogs that we've adopted, so they kind of understand a little bit of the process through our dogs, because we talk about how they were at the shelter, and, we still go visit the shelter, and they can't figure out quite why they're in cages. And so it's a good learning time for your children to figure out, oh, okay, not all animals have homes, not all children have forever families, and we can make a difference, and this is what we can do. And I think that, just these little bits of seeds you're planting, it really makes an impact. Because one day I was at the park with my son. I think he was only 3 at the time. And we're sitting around looking, and there was a lot of trash. It was a Monday, and there was parties probably that weekend. And my son says, there's a lot of trash. And I said, yeah, I know. And he goes, I know. We'll just clean it all up. And I thought, well, yeah, of course we can. Like, what? You're so smart. So he just started this thing where he wanted to go to the park and start making it pretty and beautiful and cleaning it up. And I think that really stems from hopefully us showing him that if you see a problem, that you can change it. You can do anything you want to do. You just have to go and do it. So I'm really hoping to raise little gentlemen who have a heart for giving as well.
Well, and by being the role model, and by, oh, thank you so much, my love. It's so good to see you. By sharing what you do, being able to give back to the community by setting that example, you're really setting your children up for success. And by, being those role models that we don't always have those kinds of strong role models, I think really makes them see what you're doing and go, hey, you know what? That's really simple. I can do that. And that's right. Inspiring. I mean, that's hopefully what good parenting is about.
Exactly.
I mean, with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old boy, sometimes that's hard because they go on one speed. So I'm sure you're always challenged because I read. Go ahead.
In this house, it's like it's quiet. So I'm sure
there you go.
Out playing ball or something because it's far too quiet.
Yeah, I always get worried when it's quiet. We own a gymnastics company for children, and I know that whenever we get an all boys class, because we specialize in children under the age of 6, we all kind of go, okay, this is going to be either really, really fun or really out of control. It just depends on the day.
That's out of control, but it's fun.
It is always fun. That is true. You're absolutely correct. So, so what really inspired you to want to become a foster parent? I mean, that is really taking on a huge obligation, and I know that you have gone through the process, and I think that you guys have really thought this through and waited until it was the right time for you to be able to do that. But 7 years ago or almost 8 years ago, when you decided that you wanted to do that, what was the inspiration for it?
It's hard to say because I've really always had a heart for it. But where I think it stems from is a really close family member of mine was adopted into our family when she was a baby. And she's like a sister to me. And I think from a very young age, it dawned on me that it does not matter if you're blood. All that matters is that you're a family and that you love each other. So, even to this day, she's so special to me and such an important part of my life that it just seemed like a no-brainer. And seeing the wonderful home that she was given versus what could have happened had she not been adopted, it was really just eye-opening. And I think I was 6 years old when this was all happening. So from the age of 6, it was like, oh, well, this is fantastic and I want to do this. So it's like hard to really grasp where it all came from, but it's just from the time I was little, it was just, I always had a heart for adopting and fostering, which is why we have 6 dogs. I'm to blame for most of them. But it's just such a worthwhile, and anyone, I don't know if everyone experiences this, but if you've ever gotten a dog from, a pet shop versus a shelter, there's just this unspoken sense of appreciation I feel like I get from the dogs that I've adopted from a shelter, because it's just like, if you've ever been to a shelter, it's loud, it's nonstop barking, it's terrifying for most dogs. So it's like when they're adopted, they're so appreciative of this life. And so I think that really hits me. And I think, with children, you can't expect, like, they don't understand, when you're fostering, it's always said, don't expect them. They're not going to be appreciative because they don't understand, what's going on. You just love them and give them that stability that they really need. And, it's going to make a difference in their lives in the long run. Even if you don't have them forever, even if you can't adopt them, you're planting little seeds of love into their lives. And that's really your goal, even if you have them for a week.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Pam, I was going to say congratulations on being adopted. I'm sure that you were grateful for having your great aunt there, so I'm glad that you were able to have that experience. And then Lauren, in response to your answer about adoption, I mean, even though my children are canines, because I can't have children, and because of medical conditions, we kind of have stayed away from the idea of fostering or adopting children because we're not sure. I'm not stable enough, to be able physically to be able to have a child. So I get to play with them and give good things at work, but then we send them back, which, I kind of like, but one of our dogs is a service dog. So he was actually, bred with the intention of being a service dog. And we had him for about 6 months when we realized that when he wasn't being a service dog, he needed to have a companion. So we looked around for the same kind of breed because we have a long-haired dachshund, and so we were like trying to find one, and finally, a puppy mill was going to put our other dog to sleep because she wasn't breedable. She actually has neurological issues, and it took me back to when I was going through my issues as a teenager, and I thought, okay, I've got to have this dog. I've got to have her. I have to have her. And it's my service dog is my service dog, and he stays with me and he's always close to me, but our adopted dog she sleeps under the covers with me like a teddy bear. Like she and she waits for me. She knows that we saved her from something.
Right.
And I just think, how can they possibly understand that? And she was only 6 weeks old. I mean, she was very, very young. So, I can't.
You can't put your finger on it. But
I can't. But she knows.
But you know that you know. And I think that, what you were saying about not being able to foster or adopt, I think that's why something like Together We Rise is so important for so many people. The statistics are staggering with the number of people who would like to help children in foster care or adopt is like, I think it's like 27% are interested in doing it, and yet only 2 or 3% actually look into it. And there's so many reasons why, but if we could just bridge that gap and get maybe all 27% to help in other ways, right, I think we would really, make an impactful difference. So that's why I really want to spend my year informing people, because people just don't realize. They think, oh, well, I'm not in a place to foster or adopt, so there's just nothing I can do, or, I don't have a big enough house, or whatever it is. There are other ways you can help. And then similarly, because I was working with Together We Rise, I got introduced to an organization called America's Kids Belong. I don't know if you're familiar with them,
no,
but they're so fantastic, and they are growing so rapidly. So I'm blessed to be the spokesperson for the California chapter. So it's been a really great blessing to get to learn from them, and they're so unique with their perspective of how they do things. And one of their biggest projects is called the Dream Makers Project. And what they really focus on is helping children who are aging out of foster care. So it's having people adopt a dream of someone aging out of foster care. There's 26,000 children aging out of foster care every year. So most of them have no family, no friends, no support. There's just nothing. They're done. So we get to have these dreams sponsored by loving, kind people. And some of the things are, a laptop because they want to further their education, which how important is that? Right. Or a bicycle because they want a way to get to work so they can, make a life for themselves. And sometimes all they need is that one little thing, a bicycle or a laptop, or for some people, it's just an apartment for 6 months to get them on their feet, and really just granting that wish to help get them out in the world and let them know you're still loved, and we're going to help you. So the Dream Makers program, if you want to look it up, it's dreammakersproject.org. You can take a look at some of the wishes that are currently in the works and what they've done. And it's just so amazing to just see that flourish. And, there are so many other ways you can help. For example, if you're a photographer and you love to take pictures, I know that people do this at shelters all the time. They take cute photos of the dogs and put them up on the website so they look more adoptable. And that's another thing you can do, is you can get involved by, photographing, or I know now with America's Kids Belong, they're doing these great videos, and they're videotaping the children for 5 minutes, talking to them. What kind of family do you want? What do you love to do? And then they post it, and they're ingenious with sharing these videos with churches and saying, will you just play these videos at church and see if any families feel that, that's the child for them. It's just, there's so many ways that we can get this moving. It's just, pushing it forward and getting more churches involved. And, sometimes it's just one thing the kid says that maybe will hit someone. For us, we have a horse. My husband loves horses. So, if we were to watch a video and a child were to say, I love horses and I'd love to be in a family that had a horse, it would be that moment where you're like, that could be us. So I think the videos are so special because, the pictures are great. you know, they give a face to just a name, but then you have a video where you get to know about these children, and it really is making an impact in the number of children that are actually adopted. So there are so many great organizations out there. I mean, those are the two that are close to my heart, Together We Rise and America's Kids Belong. But, you know, I encourage you, if you're interested, to look at those websites or do some research. There's probably an organization in your own area that you can get involved with, but both of those organizations are national. So Together We Rise, if you do a campaign and you're in Minnesota, they will, you know, once you finish your campaign, they will ship all the bags to you, all of the stuff, and you get to put the bags together, decorate the bags, and deliver them to your local foster agency. So it doesn't matter.
That's awesome.
Based in California, they will ship it to wherever you are, and then you get to actually make that impact in your neighborhood. So, you know, physically walking into that foster agency and dropping off those bags, it's a pretty amazing moment. So, you know, I really encourage you to check out the websites.
Fantastic. It's so great, so empowering. I love your story. I know in our case, we offer low cost or no cost classes because we offer classes in very urban areas to children that are usually from single parent homes, and some of their parents have been incarcerated. So it's either totally free of cost or it's very, very low cost so the parents can afford it. And in essence, we mentor them. That the whole idea is, yes, we use gymnastics as a tool, but my husband and I have decided that that's our way of being able to try to give back, to be, you know, good role models, and to be able to help them realize something that maybe they never would have had an opportunity to be able to do. So,
right.
That's amazing. What you're doing is amazing. It's amazing work. It is extremely inspiring. You're making a difference, and I'm grateful for that. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I love. Hey, Madison. Hello, everybody that's dropping in. We're almost ready to wrap up. She's a mom of 2 boys. We can't keep her too long. So there's only so long that Dad can keep them out in the backyard. So do me a favor, Lauren, if you can tell us how to get in touch with you, and again, if you can tell us the 2 organizations that you're working with, so that if anybody wants to be able to contact you or reach out, that they can.
Sure, absolutely. So you can go to togetherwerise.org, and that's the organization that does the sweet cases that we talked about, or you can go to americaskidsbelong.org, which does the Dreammakers Project, and you can go to their direct website at dreammakersproject.org. Or you can find me on Facebook. I have my Mrs. California International 2018 page. You can follow my journey. I also have an Instagram page, which is the same, Mrs. California International. And just follow my journey and see all of the things that I'm doing and experiencing. And, you know, if you know someone that's interested in adopting or fostering, then maybe direct them to those websites, because there's a lot of great resources and statistics that they can look at. And really, they're there to help people along in the process and just help them get involved. And also, if you're watching and you're passionate about something, whatever it is, and you're interested, whether you're a teen, a miss, or a Mrs., please look at the international website, because there's a local pageant in your area. And you know, I've never been up to Mrs. International. I've never been up there, but every single person I've spoken to just cannot rave enough about the friendships they make, and the way that the program just treats all of the girls and the women that are there. It's just such a sisterhood. So I highly recommend the International Pageant Organization as well. So just thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday.
Thank you. Good luck with the Global Beauty Award for the Denise White nomination for the award. We'll look forward to hopefully on March 10th, you know, hearing from you, or maybe afterwards we can catch up, because I would like to continue and following you on your journey to Mrs. International. So please keep in touch with me, and we wish you the best of luck. Good luck in everything that you're doing. You're making a change in your world, and I am grateful for that. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It means so much to get to share this with everyone, because obviously I'm passionate about it, but I can't shut up about it, really. I just want to, you know, tell the world about it. So this is a great platform. So I just want to thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. That's why we do this. So please make sure the video will be ready in about an hour on our YouTube channel, which is Pageantry Now Media. I will share it on Facebook as well as Pageantry Now, so you can share it to whomever you want. I am verbally giving the Mrs. California International Organization the right to be able to change the video if they want to, if they want to edit it. I'm giving you guys the rights to be able to do that, but please share it because I think your story is inspiring, and more people need to be doing that. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. See you later. Thank you, Lauren. Take care.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Wow, thank you so much for being here, Lauren. I really appreciate your time and your commitment to helping to change the lives of children that are in the foster system. And, you know, I wish you the best of luck on your journey to Mrs. International and also with the Global Beauty Awards and the Denise Weeks Award. Again, if anybody is interested in being able to find out more about Lauren, or if you want to contact her and you can get her information, feel free to find us on Instagram, Twitter, or on Facebook at Pageantry Now. If you'd like to go back and rewatch the video, it should have been saved to YouTube at Pageantry Now Media, and we've got other videos as well, so please look at them, subscribe. We are one of those small channels that needs extra subscribers, so we appreciate that. And with that being said, we will see you next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we have another title holder on that's going to talk about their reign and how they're making a difference using a crown and being positive in pageantry, and not just in pageantry, in the planet, which is super, super important. So we are so grateful to all of our crownies. Thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't already fanned us, please do, so you can get notifications when we go live. We will see you next time on Pageantry Now. I'm your host, Stacey Simpson. Have a good night, guys. That's a wrap. Oh, hashtag be kind to one another.